The testimony you are about to listen to was sent to us by a nurse who had a near-death experience, and what she saw is what she wants to share to everyone. By the end of her testimony, you will never see the coming of Jesus as you used to. I am going to share it the exact way it was sent to us. No part has been removed or added. Please watch to end to fully understand this testimony. But before I start sharing this testimony with you, please let me know where you're listening from. It would be nice to feel closer, even if we're physically apart. Also, don't forget to like. It will help this video to reach so many people who need to listen to this testimony, and leave a comment. Share your thoughts about this near-death experience testimony. Let's have a fair and open discussion so we can learn from each other here on this channel, and don't forget to subscribe for more of this content coming your way. Enjoy listening. My name is Jessica Matthews and I'm 43 years old. I work as a nurse at St. Mary's Hospital here in Millfield. Been doing this job for 20 years now. Seen all kinds of things. Death, birth, miracles, tragedies. I thought I'd seen it all until what happened to me 3 months ago. I never believed in all that religious stuff. Sure, I went to church as a kid because my mama made me. But as I got older, especially working in the hospital, I started questioning everything. How could there be a loving God when I watched children die from cancer? When I held the hands of young mothers as they took their last breath? When good people suffered while bad people seemed to get away with everything? My colleagues knew where I stood. During lunch breaks when they'd talk about their faith, I just listened politely. I wasn't mean about it. I just didn't buy into it. Science made sense to me. What I could see and touch and measure, that was real. But that Tuesday in June changed my whole world. Started like any other day. I got to work at 7 in the morning. Had my usual coffee from the machine in the break room. The black stuff that tastes like burnt water but keeps you awake during those long shifts. I was assigned to the cardiac unit that day. Around 10:30, we got a call from emergency. Heart attack patient coming in. Male, 67 years old. I grabbed my supplies and headed down to meet the ambulance. The paramedics wheeled him in fast. Mr. Robert Mike, the paperwork said. His wife was crying behind them. Poor woman looked terrified. We get him into the trauma room and start working on him. Dr. Peterson was doing chest compressions while I prepped the defibrillator. Then something went wrong with me. Not the patient, me. I felt this sharp pain in my chest. Like someone stabbed me with a hot poker. My left arm went numb. Couldn't breathe right. I knew exactly what was happening. You don't work cardiac for 15 years without recognizing the signs. Dr. Peterson, I managed to say before everything went black. Next thing I remember, I was looking down at my own body on the floor. The whole team was working on me now instead of Mr. Mike. It was the strangest feeling. I wasn't scared or panicked. I felt calm, peaceful even. Like when you're really tired and finally get to lay down in a comfortable bed. I could see Dr. Peterson doing compressions on my chest. Nurse Kelly was pushing medications through my fore. I wanted to tell them I was okay, that they didn't need to worry, but I couldn't make any sound. Then I started moving upward, not like floating, more like being gently pulled. The hospital got smaller below me. I could see the whole building, then the parking lot, then the whole town of Millfield spread out like a map. But I wasn't going up to some bright light or tunnel like you hear about in those near-death stories. Instead, I found myself standing on Main Street, but it wasn't the Main Street I knew. Everything looked different somehow. Cleaner. The colors were more vivid. The sky was this amazing blue I'd never seen before. And standing next to me was a man. I knew immediately who he was, even though I'd never seen him before. Jesus. Not like in the paintings with the long blonde hair and blue eyes. This Jesus had dark skin and kind eyes that seemed to hold all the love and sadness in the world. "Jessica," he said, and his voice was like nothing I can describe. gentle but strong, like my grandfather's voice when I was little and scared. "I have something to show you," he said. Suddenly, we were standing in front of Johnson's hardware store on Main Street. I looked at the big digital clock they have in their window. It read 3:12 p.m. on a Thursday. The date was March 15th, but I couldn't tell what year. The weather was perfect. One of those spring days when winter finally lets go and you can smell the earth waking up. There were puffy white clouds in the sky and a gentle breeze that made the American flag in front of the post office dance. People were going about their regular business. Mrs. Henderson was coming out of the grocery store with her weekly shopping. Tom Martinez was washing windows at his barber shop. A group of teenagers were sitting on the benches by the fountain, probably skipping school. Then I heard music. Someone had their car radio turned up loud. It was that old song Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond. The part where everyone sings "So good, so good, so good" was playing. Jesus looked at me. "Watch carefully," he said. At that exact moment, 3:12 p.m. while Sweet Caroline was playing, something incredible happened. People just started disappearing. Not all of them, but some of them. Mrs. Henderson vanished right there on the sidewalk, her grocery bags falling to the ground. One of the teenagers by the fountain, a girl with red hair, she was gone in an instant. The mailman who was walking toward the post office just wasn't there anymore. But it wasn't like in the movies. No bright flashes or dramatic music. They were just there 1 second and gone the next, like someone had turned off a light switch. The people who were left looked around confused. At first they thought they were seeing things. Tom Martinez came out of his barber shop looking around. "Where did everybody go?" he was saying. "I swear there were more people here a minute ago." A woman started screaming. She was looking at the pile of clothes where Mrs. Henderson had been standing. The groceries were scattered all over the sidewalk. Milk cartons split open, apples rolling into the street. I watched as confusion turned to panic. People started calling 911 on their cell phones. Police sirens started wailing in the distance. But what got to me most was watching the teenagers who were left behind. 2 of them were crying, asking where their friend went. The red-headed girl who had disappeared, she was obviously someone they cared about. Jesus and I stood there watching as emergency vehicles started arriving. I could hear the dispatch calls on their radios. Similar reports were coming in from all over town, all over the state, all over the world. But then something else started happening. Within hours, the news media began telling a different story. I found myself somehow watching television broadcasts from that day. The news anchors looked shaken, but they had explanations. "Scientists are calling it a rare atmospheric phenomenon," one reporter said. "Mass hallucinations caused by solar flares affecting brain chemistry." Another channel blamed it on a terrorist attack using some kind of new technology. Experts believe this was a coordinated effort to create panic using advanced holographic projections. The anchor said with a straight face. The government officials being interviewed all had similar talking points. There is no evidence that people actually disappeared. What we're seeing is mass hysteria combined with social media rumors. We are investigating potential foreign interference designed to destabilize our society. I watched families on the news being told that their missing loved ones had probably just gotten confused and wandered off during the panic. Search and rescue teams were organized. Counselors were brought in to help people deal with their false memories. But I could see the truth in people's eyes. Deep down, they knew what they had witnessed was real. Yet slowly, many of them started doubting themselves. When everyone in authority is telling you that what you saw didn't happen, when the media keeps repeating that it was all a hoax or hallucination, it becomes easier to accept their version than to trust your own experience. "This is what will happen," Jesus said to me as we watched the coverage. "This is the rapture, the taking up of my people. and this is how the world will explain it away. I felt tears on my face. When? I asked. When will this happen? Sooner than people think, he said. Much sooner. The signs are all there for those who have eyes to see. He turned to me then, and his expression was serious but filled with love. Jessica, I need you to go back. I need you to tell people what you've seen. Tell them the door is still open, but it will not be forever. I am coming sooner than they think. But who's going to believe me? I asked. I don't even go to church. I'm not some holy person. I'm just a nurse who didn't believe in any of this stuff until 5 minutes ago. Jesus smiled then, and it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. That's exactly why they'll listen to you. You have nothing to gain by making this up. You're not a preacher asking for money. You're not trying to start a church or sell books. You're just a regular person telling the truth about what you saw. He put his hand on my shoulder, and I felt such peace. The people I take in the rapture, they're ready. Their hearts belong to me, but there will be others who get left behind, people who thought they had more time, people who kept putting off their decision about me. They'll have another chance, but it's going to be much harder then. What should I tell them? I asked. Tell them that I love them. Tell them that salvation isn't about being perfect or having all the answers. It's about accepting my gift of forgiveness and following me. Tell them that the door to heaven is still open, but they shouldn't wait. Time is running out. The scene started fading around me. Will I see you again? I asked. Sooner than you think, he said with that same gentle smile. Next thing I knew, I was back in my body in the hospital. Dr. Peterson was standing over me looking relieved. Welcome back, Jessica, he said. You gave us quite a scare. I've been clinically dead for 8 minutes. They told me later that they'd almost given up. My heart had stopped completely and nothing they tried was working. Then suddenly I just came back. The cardiologist couldn't find anything wrong with my heart. All the tests came back normal. Sometimes these things just happen, Dr. Martinez said, but I could tell he was puzzled, probably stress-related. Take a few days off and you should be fine. But I wasn't fine. I was completely changed. For the first week, I didn't tell anyone about what I'd seen. I kept thinking maybe it really was just some kind of hallucination brought on by lack of oxygen to my brain. That's what my logical, scientific mind wanted to believe. But I couldn't shake the details. The digital clock reading 3:12 p.m. Sweet Caroline playing on the radio. Mrs. Henderson's groceries scattered on the sidewalk. The red-headed teenager disappearing. The confusion in people's eyes. The news reports explaining it all away. It was too specific, too real. And there was something else. I felt different inside. Like a part of me had been awakened that I didn't even know was there. I found myself praying, really praying, for the first time in my adult life. I started reading the Bible, not because someone told me to, but because I was hungry for it. All those stories I'd dismissed as fairy tales suddenly made perfect sense. I understood now that God hadn't been absent during all those tragedies I'd witnessed at the hospital. He'd been right there, crying with the families, holding the dying, preparing a place for the ones who belonged to him. After a month of keeping quiet, I finally told my pastor. Well, I should say the pastor at the church I'd started attending. First time I'd been in a church building in 20 years, but I felt drawn there. Pastor Williams listened to my whole story without interrupting. When I finished, he was quiet for a long time. Jessica, he finally said, I believe God gave you this vision for a purpose. The question is, what are you going to do with it? That's when I knew I had to start sharing it. Not from a pulpit, I'm not qualified for that. But one person at a time. Co-workers, friends, family members. Anyone who would listen. Some people think this is a joke. That's okay. Some people think I made it all up for attention. That's okay too. But others are recognizing the truth when they hear it. I can see it in their faces. Something inside them responds to the message, even if they're not ready to act on it yet. My own sister gave her life to Christ after I told her about my vision. She said she'd been feeling like something was missing in her life for years, and hearing my story helped her realize what it was. My coworker Janet, who's been struggling with alcoholism, broke down crying when I shared what Jesus had told me. She said she'd been praying for a sign that God still loved her despite all her mistakes. Now she's 6 weeks sober and attending AA meetings at our church. But it's not just the people who make big changes right away. It's the seeds being planted. The teenage girl who works at the coffee shop downtown. She asks me questions about faith every time I come in. The mechanic who fixes my car, he started reading the Bible after we talked. My elderly neighbor who lives alone. She told me my story gives her hope that she'll see her husband again someday. Here's what I want everyone who hears this story to understand. I'm not special. I'm not some super religious person who had visions because I was already holy. I was actually the opposite. I was a skeptic who thought faith was for weak people who couldn't handle reality. But God used me anyway. That's the kind of God He is. He doesn't wait for us to get our act together before He reaches out to us. He meets us where we are, even when we're lying on a hospital floor having a heart attack, even when we've spent years ignoring Him. The message I was given is simple but urgent. Jesus is coming back sooner than people think. The door to heaven is still open, but it won't be forever. We don't know exactly when that door will close, but we know it will. If you're hearing this story and something inside you is stirring, don't ignore it. That's God calling to you. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to say yes to Jesus. Accept His gift of forgiveness and follow Him. The people who get taken in the rapture, they're not better people than everyone else. They're just people who said yes to Jesus. People who let Him into their hearts and lives. People who are ready when He comes. If you're not ready, you can be. Right now, wherever you are, you can pray a simple prayer. Tell Jesus you're sorry for your sins. Tell Him you want Him to be your Lord and Savior. Ask Him to come into your heart. That's it. It's not complicated. Don't wait thinking you have more time. Don't put it off because you want to clean up your life first. Don't let pride or doubt or fear keep you from the greatest gift anyone could ever receive. I've seen what's coming. I've seen the confusion and the pain of those who get left behind. I've seen how the world will try to explain away the greatest event in human history. But I've also seen the love in Jesus' eyes and felt the peace that comes from belonging to Him. The door is still open, but it won't be forever. And He's coming sooner than we think. Make Him your personal Lord and Savior today, and you will be forever grateful that you did. Thank you for listening. If you have been blessed, please like this video. It will help YouTube to show it to more audience who need to hear about these testimonies today. Also share this video to your loved ones. It will be a great way to communicate Christ to others, and that will be the greatest gift you can give to those that you love. If you are yet to subscribe to our channel, please do so. It's free and it's a way of joining this great community of believers. Join us today and your life will not remain the same. Until next time, remain blessed.